You have no chance. Don't waste your time, is exactly what I've told many agents over the course of the last week, which I'm fairly certain begs the question, why on earth would I tell an agent that they've got no chance and don't waste their time? As a boots on the ground operator of a high performance real estate team, it is common practice for us to be representing buyers or sellers. And if you've been watching for a while, I suspect you've heard me say we specialize in finding the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else for your property, if we're listing it. And I also suspect you've probably heard me say we specialize in finding your dream home and dream lifestyle. And more importantly, I suspect you've heard me say, ain't nobody overpaying on my watch. Because it's true, ain't nobody overpaying for a home on my watch. And I hope it's understood that any team business done is under my watch. In fact, recently I spoke to an agent that I'm friends with because I saw they had posted something on social media. When I saw the post, I immediately knew the house, the subdivision, and more importantly, that the home that he was advertising is radically overpriced. And while I never want to blow out someone else's candle to make mine burn brighter, I also knew that I had a responsibility to lean in order to help the agent. Because the agent who made the post was completely unaware that they are playing themselves. And when I did speak to them, I was pleased to know they were receptive to what I had to say. And I give the agent a lot of credit for being coachable, and I shared exactly what I would do differently. I've been in their shoes before. I know how exciting it seems to be able to advertise a very high-priced listing. And I also know the consumer is smarter these days, and they've got access to information in real time. But I've also learned that pounding your chest and bragging about a high-priced listing is a total turnoff to 99.99999999999% of people, with the only exception being the homeowner who has it listed for sale. I'm sure they think it's great, but given that I learned that the listing that was being advertised wasn't even theirs, but they did have permission to advertise it, I suggested what I would do is take all of the marketing material that you've been given access to and tell the consumer the truth, which is that you found an incredible dream home that provides an incredible dream lifestyle for the right buyer at the right price. And my suggestion to them was to continue to advertise the home. And my messaging would probably sound something more like, I found your dream home, I found your dream lifestyle, and I'm going to negotiate a $500,000 discount off of list price. And potentially much more than that, which will be totally contingent upon market conditions whenever we're writing up the purchase contract, which is a long way of saying, if you have an overpriced listing, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller to tell them the truth. And I've met with a tremendous amount of sellers that have a very different opinion about their home's value than I do. And when we discuss pricing and we discuss what the home must be listed for, in order to ensure we find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. But if the seller and I do not agree on where their home should be listed, and they think it should be listed significantly higher, I often encourage them to make it much higher. Because why stop shooting for the moon if in fact we're playing the lottery? Because there's no chance it's ever going to sell if it's overpriced. So if the plan is to overprice it, why start small? Overprice it by $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, $100 million. It doesn't matter. Because the truth is, it's never going to sell unless it's priced the right way. Which takes me back to the original title of this video, which is, you had no chance, don't waste your time. And I shared that language with the agents that were calling me because it was factually true. I am incredibly respectful of everyone's time because I want everyone to be super respectful with mine. And I hate wasting time. But recently we were hired to sell a townhouse in Coral Springs. And because I know exactly how to price a home given market conditions, we created a market within a market. And within a few days, we had multiple buyers bidding the price higher, competing with each other, just like they did in the frenzy. And although we got north of 10 contracts in less than 3 days on this particular townhome, not all of them were cash buyers, but many of them were. And when you have multiple cash buyers that are bidding the price higher and setting a record in the community, the last thing you would ever consider accepting is a financed offer contingent upon appraisal. So when the agents called me with questions and asked what the seller wants, because the buyer wants to write a contract, I asked them what the contract would be and what the financing terms would look like. And despite the fact I told everyone the truth about exactly where we're at in the process to be transparent, I was blown away by the amount of agents that refused to listen to what I told them and proceeded to waste their time and mine by writing up contracts that never had a shot. And I don't know if there's a disconnect between brain and mouth for some of these agents. And I think moving forward, when I speak to some agents that I don't believe are comprehending what I'm saying, I'm going to ask them to take the cotton out of their ears and put it in their mouth. Because if you'd listen to the truth, I would save you and your client a tremendous amount of time. And to be clear, I want to do deals with everybody. And I want everybody to succeed. But when I'm giving you the inside information so that you can have the best information in order to advocate for your client, and you choose not to listen, well, then you get what you get. And I hope nobody gets upset. And while I hope nobody gets upset, I suspect their clients won't be pleased. Because in the townhouse community in Coral Springs that I was referencing, there are almost no other properties for sale. And with the short supply of new listings, there are very few properties that are available, period. End of story. There is a short supply of homes for sale because property owners are not trading out of a 2%, 3%, 4% mortgage into an 8, 9, 10, 20% mortgage unless they have to. And many property owners own the property outright. They bought it with cash. They aren't selling unless they choose to. And there are plenty of property owners that own their properties fully outright in cash. At some point, those cash owners' needs change. And if their needs change, well, then they'll make a move. But in this particular price point for this type of property, most folks who own that outright in cash as their primary residence ain't going anywhere anytime soon, up until they do. Now, I hope you found this content valuable, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter where I can never be censored, check me out on Patreon where I go off, and check out my next video because I suspect you will love it a lot. And until next time, peace!